YouTube heathens. What's going on, man? If you're new to the channel, my name is Sky, and I'm currently on a mission of growing my first-year junk removal business to the biggest franchise in all of North America. Call me crazy, but you just might be right. So today, I'm bringing you a video on how to give a junk removal estimate. Now, you have two different kind of estimates. You have an in-person estimate and you have an over-the-phone estimate. They use the same techniques, the same strategies, and there is a strategy to it. So it's not as hard as we make it to be as business owners, but there is a small science to it, and we need to learn that. So there are some things you want to avoid when giving an estimate, and we're going to talk about those things now. And then we're going to step over to my dump trailer and give you a view on what a quarter, half, 3/4, and a full load looks like, and then touch a little bit more in depth on how to actually give that estimate. So the first and biggest thing you want to avoid when you're giving any kind of quote or any kind of estimate is price. Don't give the price, at least until the end of the conversation. You don't want to give the crap price in the beginning for a couple of different reasons. The first reason being is as soon as you give that price, that gives your potential customer ammunition to run to the next guy. You give them the price, so and so it's going to be $500, $600, $700, $800 for a full load. They're going to say, okay, thank you. I want to talk to my husband. They're going to hang up and they're going to call 3 other people and see who's the cheapest and go. Now, those aren't the customers you really want, but at the end of the day, why would you give them ammunition when you don't need to? You got to win that customer over. It's life. You got to win people over, okay? So number one, and most importantly, do not give that price. That'll come later on in the conversation. Number two, don't give set prices. It doesn't matter if you're in person. It doesn't matter if you're on the phone. You're not going to give a set price at all. When you give yourself a set price, you're going to lock yourself into something that you can't get out of. For instance, if you have a hoarder job or you have a multi-load job and you give somebody a set price, let's just say you think it's going to be a $3,000 or $4,000 job, and you say, hey, Mr. Customer, I'll tell you what, we'll do it for $3,000. And you agree. And you come back and it ends up being a 5, 6, or it ends up being a 6, 7, 8 loader. Well, now you've lost thousands of dollars because you locked yourself in on that price. Give yourself a range. Same thing, it doesn't have to be a hoarder job, but it could be a 3/4 load. You need to say, hey, Mr. Customer, or Mrs. Customer, it's going to be between $300 and $400. It's going to be between $500 and $600. Give yourself some cushion to work with so you don't back yourself into a corner. So step number 2, do not set the price. And last but not least, the last thing you want to avoid is to have a negative tone when giving an estimate. I cannot stress enough how important it is. It's sales in general. It's not just about giving an estimate, but sales in general, how important your tone of voice is. If you're giving an estimate and it sounds, like you're just like they're just a hassle for calling you, it's going to be $150, or well, I tell you, it's going to be at least this much. That's the quickest way you can lose a job. Focus on that tone of voice and win your customer over. Well, hey, Mrs. Customer, sounds like you're going to have about half a load. I'll tell you what, I can give you a rough estimate of around $300 to $400. I can't see it really being too much more than that, but I will be able to lock that price in when we get there in person before we start the job. We'll make sure that that price is okay with you, and then we'll move forward. That sounds a lot better than just, oh yeah, I think it'll be at least $400, could be more. I mean, yeah, but we'd like to go ahead and knock. No, you ain't gonna do nobody over like that, and nobody wanna do no business with you. Now, let's go over those 3 things to wrap it up. Don't give the price in the beginning of the conversation. Do not lock the price and back yourself into a corner, and do not have a negative tone of voice when you're giving the estimate. Abide by those 3 things, and you'll be all right. It wouldn't hurt to watch a couple of sales videos. See how to close, see how to facilitate that conversation if you don't have a sales background. Luckily, I do have some sales background. See how to facilitate the conversation. Keep the conversation going. Ask questions. Cannot stress enough. Asking questions is what will lead you to the motherland. Ask those questions, know what's coming, and you can go from there. Now, all right, guys, so here's my trailer. This is a 6x13 dump trailer. So as you... So as you can see, we've got a full load here. It looks crazy. We're all the way up. I took the tarp off so you guys can see. This is a full load. Now, your full load price may range anywhere from $400 to $700 for the most part, no matter where you're at. Why do I look so damn big? I know I look big beside this trailer. Like, this trailer is pretty damn big. Like, I know in the camera, I'm definitely not. I'm a little taller, but I'm definitely not as tall as this. back to what we were talking about. So as you're giving an estimate over the phone, the first thing you want to do is ask for pictures. So when you're giving an estimate, whether that's in person or over the phone, you want your trailer or your truck's bed in your mind. You want your trailer.
What?
Okay. You want your trailer or your truck's bed in your mind the whole time. The reason being is if you're going through a house or a home or outside in the yard and you're giving it I swear I ain't seen that. We live in a subdivision. I've never seen so many cars drive by in 2 minutes. You want your trailer size or your truck size in your head the whole time. Reason being, you need to be visualizing what all's gonna fit in there, how much is gonna fit in there, how many trips, how many loads it's gonna take to get the job done. So no matter if it's an on-site estimate or an over-the-phone estimate, you have in your mind how much of what they have is gonna fit in your bed. So you wanna think of this as quarter load. Now you don't wanna necessarily price at quarter loads because you're giving away too much information. Like I said, there's a science to it. But in your mind, you wanna think of quarter loads. If this is 13 yards, every 3.5 yards is gonna be a quarter load. 3.5, 7, 10.5. Every 3.3 yards is gonna be a quarter for me. 3.3, 3.3, 3.3, 3.3. Yeah, so I know my quarter load is here. I know that my half load is about here. I know that my 3/4 load is about here. And I know my full load is back there. So you want to keep that in mind when you're giving an estimate. Now, if you have more than a load, if you have multiple loads, it may be a hoarder clean out, it may be a hole, it may be a shed tear down, whatever the case may be, then you want to think per load basis. But if you're quoting a job that's anything less than a load, that's how you want to think of it in your mind. So as you're going through, if you see 2 couches and you see a recliner, a couch, and 2 mattresses, you're going to know that if all other stuff wasn't in there, I know that that's probably going to be a little bit over a quarter load, if not half a load. And you also got to think of the weight of everything that's going in there. Now, if this was all sleeper couches, if there were 2 sleeper couches and, something else that's super heavy like a piano or something, it's obviously going to cost more because it's going to cost more on me to dump it and more labor for me to get it in. Keep those things in mind when you're giving an estimate, which brings me to my next point. Just because of the volume it takes up in there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same price for everything. As I mentioned, weight is a massive factor. For instance, if you have a concrete job, you may only be able to take up to this much of your trailer because that's the weight capacity. If that's the case, that's obviously only a quarter load, but it's not going to be, whoever's quarter load may be $200 to $300. It's not going to be a quarter load. It's going to be much more than that because of the weight it takes for you to dump it. And even if you have a concrete recycling place, it's more labor on you and it's more work for your truck or trailer. So keep that thing in mind. If you have a quarter load full of concrete, it's not going to be $200 to $300. It may be $500 to $600. So, and that goes by cubic yard. So that's some things to think about. Charge more for more. Next, you need to think about the distance you're traveling to load your truck or trailer. If it's a half load and it's parked right up to the garage or right up to the front door or back door or basement and you can walk right into it to give your true half load price. But if you have to walk a quarter mile and go through a maze and walk through dog and go up 16 billion stairs, obviously you need to add on to that price because it's more work for you to do. Obviously you can come up with how much more you would charge for that, but you're not going to charge the same thing if you have to walk, up steps and all kinds of things, or if you just back right up to it. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're giving an estimate over the phone or in person. These are things that you need to be calculating in your head before any price ever comes out of your mouth. Let's give an example. Somebody calls, Sky Fly by John calls, blah, blah, blah. Hey Sky, I have 2 mattresses and a desk that I need to go. Okay, so that sounds great. If you don't mind me asking, where are you located at? What city are you located at? I'm in Brentwood. Oh, okay, Brentwood. Yep, that's within 30 minutes of where we're at. That's great to know. I'm gonna put this down here. And you said you have 2 mattresses. What size are those mattresses? Queen? Okay, great, queen. And the desk, what kind of desk is it? Just a small, like school-size desk? Is it a 2-piece? Oh, it's a regular size desk. Absolutely. And last but not least, is there any box springs that are gonna go with these beds, or is it the mattresses only? Okay, great. And you said they're located on the 1st floor? Well, all right, that's gonna be around such and such, and we can be there by 11:45. All right, thank you. And it's that simple. So far, we've handled how to calculate your loads, the distance from the inside of the home or the backyard or wherever it's at to your trailer or your dumpster itself. And last but not least, we need to talk about where the client is at. When you are given an estimate, keep in mind how far you have to travel to get there. Fuel cost is a big thing, especially right now. We're paying over $4 in gas. It's insane. So you're obviously going to charge a little bit more for someone who is probably, 30 minutes or more away than someone that's 10 minutes down the road. So if you handle that in the beginning of the phone call, that all taken care of, you can keep that in mind. I swear. So know how much it costs you to get from point A to point B and factor that into the